we're going to talk about lengthening the spinal structure. In our wonderful model here, Miss Marian Walquist is going to show you how to do this. Now, she's never done this before, so this is kind of exciting because she's going to learn as you learn. And she's going to be the young age of, 93 this coming Monday. And so she's been around a while. And she's probably never heard anything quite like this. So if you notice that I've got a couple sponges underneath the back of her neck to hold her head up because she's got pretty good curve in the upper part of her spine. Now, the truth is that she can learn to straighten that out, and she can probably have it completely straight in 3 or 4 months. But that's what we're going to talk about. What happens is, as we get older and gravity pushes us down, our vertebrae get closer together. And the first place they get close together is the smallest vertebrae. Well, they're in the neck. So our neck starts to come down and forward. And I've had an awful lot of clients over the years that have had a lot more of a curve in their neck than Marian has. So we're going to teach her how to fix that and teach you how to fix that at the same time. But in the process, think about this. If we can get little tiny movements in our muscles start to work. Now, it doesn't matter if a person's lying on a sick bed or whether a person's sitting in a chair or whatever condition they're in a wheelchair or whatever. If we can get little tiny movements, we can start to make the body work. So we're going after little tiny movements. And these little tiny movements are about the thickness of a matchbook cover, 1/25 of an inch. So our goal with Marian is to teach her how to get nice and long, and when she gets long, you know what? Life will be much easier. Because when we're long and straight, gravity supports us. And when we're bent and curved, gravity pushes us down. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to work with some breathing. Now, we already know that the older we get, the less we breathe. It's just something that's one of those natural phenomenons. So we start to breathe up here in our chest instead of breathing down through our diaphragm down into our lower body. So I'm going to play a game with her, and she's going to help me do this. So she's going to inhale through her nostrils nice and slowly. Nice and deep, and exhale through her mouth. So take a nice inhale through your nostrils.
Do you want me to do it now?
Sure do. I'm going to put you to work. And we're going to do it about 3 more times. Nice inhale. Nice inhale. Now a nice slow, deep inhale. Very good. Now the truth is, as time goes by, we forget to breathe because breathing, in essence, is an exercise. And in order to get the absolute most oxygen into our tissue that we can get, we need to exercise breathing. So the easiest way to do it is take nice inhales and nice long exhales and just completely wring our lungs dry. So how does that feel? Does that feel okay? Make you a little dizzy? Does it make you a little bit dizzy? No, you're okay? Good, good. So we start with breathing. So we want to expand the amount of oxygen that we can take into our lungs and expand the amount of oxygen we get out of our lungs. So, because if we can empty the lung balloons, we can completely fill them. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start lengthening Marian's spine. So she's going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to teach her how. And at the same time, I'm going to teach you how. So what I want you to think about is I want you to think about your spine coming up beside your ear and coming out right here on top of your head. So I want you to tuck your chin and reach the top of your spine as far as you can. Take a nice stretch reach.
With my hand?
No, you can use your hand if you want to. It's really good to use your hand sometimes because it's a point of contact. So reach right into your fingers with the top of your spine. Reach as far as you can reach.
Where is the top of my spine?
Right here, right where your fingers are. You're doing really good. So reach into your hand, and so you'll be reaching this way. So your head will be moving away from your shoulders, and you're reaching. And relax right there and just rest. Now rest on the supports.
Do I do anything with this hand?
No, you can put it on your tummy.
Okay.
Nice and comfortable. So take a nice exhale, inhale, exhale, reach. Inhale, relax. And exhale, reach. And then you put your hand back on your tummy and relax. Now, I want you to take a nice inhale through your nostrils, nice and slow. So reach to the wall at the end of the
Not
table.
with my hand.
No, with your hand is fine. The hand is fine because the hand is a point of contact. So if you put your fingers right here and you reach into your fingers as far as you can reach, there you go. That makes a very good point of contact. That's good. Now you can put your hand on your tummy. Now your neck is much, much longer. And the reason that I know that is because we've lowered the cushions underneath your head a pretty good amount. So you're already longer and straighter just that quickly. Now we've got the top of your spine getting longer. Now we need to get the bottom of your spine longer. And this is a little bit harder. We have two little bones on our pelvis that we sit on. The clinical name is ischial tuberosity, but we call them sit bones. You know what the sit bones are? There you go.
Down here somewhere.
Right down there. Absolutely right. So put your feel your sit bones so you know exactly where they are. Good. Very good. Now put your hands on your hips. So put your hands right here on your hips. And now I want you to say to your sit bones, reach that wall. Now just think it in your mind and then say it to yourself, sit bones, reach the wall. Now your feet can be nice and bent and comfortable. So we don't want to put pressure on your pelvis. So when you're doing this, you want your knees up in the air and your feet on the mat or the table or the bed, because we want to keep all the pressure off of your low back. So now as you tell your sit bones to reach that wall, all of those little muscles start to get longer. And you don't necessarily feel it, but it begins to happen. Now if a person, let's just for example, if a person was paralyzed and their outside muscles don't work, they can still work their inside core muscles oftentimes. So these muscles are not necessarily disconnected. So we teach people to lengthen their spine to the floor and lengthen their spine to the ceiling. And now we've taken the body this way, and we've created this length. Now if you can think with me just a minute, imagine there's a straight line running down the middle of the table. And I want to position you on that line so you're comfortable. So I want you to put your feet together, your heels together. We step your heels out and the pads of your feet out and let your knees relax. And now you're balanced left to right on that center line. Is that comfortable?
Yeah.
Good. Now how does your back feel?
What?
How does your back feel?
Oh, it feels okay.
Feel comfortable?
Yes.
Okay, good. Now as we begin to reach our sit bones to the wall, everything starts to stretch. Now the reason that I have you put your hands on your hips is because your body understands the hands and the shoulders, and so everything between these 2 points right here is getting longer. Now your neck's longer and your back's getting longer. Now just hold that position and relax for a few minutes. Is that comfortable?
Yes.
Good. Good. Now this is the core concept of elongation of the spinal structure. So if everybody, no matter what age or what condition, would begin to do this, here's what happens. As the bottom of the spine and the top of the spine get further apart, what happens to the line in the center? Well, what's the shortest distance between 2 points? It's a straight line. So if we can move those 2 points apart, the spine gets straight. That means that scoliosis straightens, and kyphosis or dowager's hump straightens, and lordosis or the low back curvature straightens. That all happens over a period of 3 or 4 months. It doesn't happen instantaneously. This is not magic. This is an exercise program. Is that comfortable?
Yes. It doesn't feel like anything's happening.
Okay, well that's good. So Marian says she doesn't feel like anything's happening. But if you look at her, you can see a difference in the length of her neck. So, and which is that's a good point. Thank you. You really often don't feel this right away. You just see it. You keep doing it and you begin to see changes. And all of a sudden you're taller. I had a really interesting client once. She was 69 years old. She was a psychiatrist, actually. And she was very curved and short. And after 5 or 6 months, she was this very tall, gorgeous woman who for the first time in her life was taller than her husband. So I tried to get him to come in and work with me, but he was a lawyer and he didn't necessarily see that was fit. So how are you feeling comfortable?
No, I have a lot of numbness in this side.
Okay.
Well, I guess it's in my side and
Okay.
especially in my hands.
Okay. So Marian tells me she's got lots of numbness in her hands and her side and her right side. So we're going to work with that a little bit. So I'm going to borrow your right hand and touch the ceiling. So lift your fingertips to the ceiling. Now take a nice inhale. And as you exhale, reach. Inhale, shoulder back to the mat. And exhale, reach. And lay your hand down by your side. Now, what have we done? We're going to do the same thing on the left side. What we're doing is, as the hand reaches to the ceiling, the shoulder blades, the scapula, start to open up and take pressure off of the back. Anytime that you start to get numbness in an area means that the nerves are not working, and the nerves go numb. So in this particular instance, the nerves in the upper back aren't working because they're compressed and they're shut off. And as Marian begins to reach and open up, she'll start to get sensation in that side. Now again, this is not instantaneous. This is not a magic miracle. This is 3 or 4 months, working at it a little bit every day. Now start with the left hand. Left hand reaching the ceiling. Take a nice inhale and exhale, reach. Inhale back to the mat. And exhale, reach. Inhale back to the mat. And exhale, reach. And back down to your side. Now you realize that Marian's almost 93, so if you're 70, you're not going to move the same way she does, but to be honest with you, most everybody I know that's 80 doesn't move as well as Marian does at 93. So she's a pretty healthy specimen of a woman. Now, what can we do to make her life really, really good? Well, number one, we can enlarge her breathing capacity. And how do we do that? Well, every day, several times a day, she needs to practice breathing. Because we have to practice to open our lungs up and make them work. It's a practice. Now, the more we do it, guess what? The larger the lungs get. So pretty soon, our lungs are all the way open. So I guarantee you that she can double or triple her breathing capacity over the next 3 or 4 months. And the trick is to be consistent with this. So even now, she looks much more relaxed than when she lay down. Now, partly because she's probably not as worried about this crazy person that's teaching her these exercises. She's doing great. Now, how does your back feel now?
It feels good. It always feels good when I lie down.
Okay, that's good.
It only hurts
when you stand up. Okay.
Stand up.
Now, pain comes from lack of oxygen. So wherever you have pain, you don't have enough oxygen. So as you begin to increase the volume of your lungs and you get more oxygen into your body, guess what pain does? Pain starts to go away because pain comes from lack of oxygen. Now, she's done really, really well. Now, let's recap a little bit of what we've done. We learned to breathe. We began to doing a breathing exercise. She reached the top of her spine to the wall, reached her sit bones to the wall. She put her feet left and right on the center line so they're equally balanced. She lifted her fingertips to the ceiling. We have one more thing we're going to do, one more little step. And this one's really intense. So I'm going to have you take your right elbow and lay it on the table over to the side. Let me borrow your arm here. So just let me have your elbow and lay it right here like that. And now I want you to reach out of your elbow on the exhale. So reach your elbow to the wall. Take a nice inhale, and exhale, reach as far as you can to the side of the table with your elbow. Good, there you go. Inhale back, and exhale, reach. And inhale back, and one more. And relax. Good. Now we're going to do the same thing on the left side. Does that feel okay?
Still numb.
Still numb? Yeah, it's going to be numb for a while. But we're going to get it out of there. So now we're going to take the left elbow and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to reach the left elbow off the side of the table on the exhale, and then inhale back to start. And then we're going to do that 3 times. One more reach, and one more reach, and relax. Now, the foundation of this work came out of martial arts. Watching the animals move, watching the cats stretch when they woke up in the morning, and the horses stretch, and the deer stretch. And so this is a stretching exercise, but it is an exercise. Mind me that this is not something that we're going to just think nonchalantly about it. This is an exercise regimen. And if you do it consistently, you get a huge result. Now, already, the biggest change that I've seen so far, and realize I've been doing this for 21 years, is that Marian's neck is much longer. Now, how long will it take to get the numbness out of her right side? You're going to get my pat answer, 3 or 4 months, because you have to work at it. Now, how often a day will she do this? Well, when she wakes up in the morning, if she'll do this when she first wakes up, her whole day will be easier because her vertebrae will be further apart. Now, let me paint a picture for you. Here's your vertebrae, and here's your nerves. When the vertebrae tighten down on the nerves, what happens? The nerves get impinged. When the vertebrae separate, what happens? The nerves get relaxed. So what we're doing is we're relaxing the whole nervous system, so everything in the body will work better, easier, with less effort. So when her son is 93, she'll be at his birthday party. And that's our goal. Our goal is to stay healthy for a long time. Not to live a long time, but to stay healthy for a long time. The healthier we are, the more fun life is. So no matter whether you're in a wheelchair, whether you're in a rest home, whether you're staying at home with your family, whether you're being cared for in any way, whether you're living by yourself, if you're my age or older, then this will really work to make you longer and leaner and probably a little bit meaner. Marian started with her head here, and she ended up with her head down here. You see how much change that was just in one half an hour training session? That's a huge amount of change.